Yo guys, what's going on? My name is Ryan and welcome back to a brand new video on HMSGP News, and today we've decided to take a look back at the 2018 World Superbike season, picking our top 10 favourite moments throughout the year. There were so many to pick from, there's in no particular order, so without further ado, let's just get straight into it, starting right at the start of the year in Australia. So let's start with our first top 10 moment of 2018. So for our first top 10 moment of this video, we're going all the way back to the start of the season, back in February, and that was Phillip Island, the second race at Phillip Island in particular. Now, it was quite an interesting situation. It was a flag-to-flag race because tyre wear was quite an issue for the World Superbike field that weekend. So they had to do a pit stop in between the two of them to swap tyres. So halfway through the race, there was given a few laps where they had to pit. And, well, in the end, we ended up with some great racing. Obviously, it brought all the field quite together. Everyone was going as fast as they can. And Phillip Island, it always brings some great racing. But more in particular, the final lap of the race. So, Jonathan Rea and Marco Melandri all fighting it out at the front with a few other guys. Then they broke away. Now, Jonathan Rea looked like he had it over Marco Melandri. But somehow, a great final sector for Marco Melandri. He was able to slipstream Johnny Rea down to the line. And as you know, Phillip Island, it's one of them circuits where there is quite a long gap from the final corner out onto the finish line, and Melandri was able to use that Ducati power, slipstreamed into the line to beat him by 21 thousandths of a second, and it was a great win because it was also his second win of the season. And well, it looked like Johnny Rea might not have had it all his own way after the first round of the championship. Now, our next moment comes from Michael Rinaldi, the young Italian rider, the reigning Superstock world champion. He was brought up into Aruba IT Ducati's junior team. They brought a junior team in with Michael Rinaldi, and he would take part in the European rounds. And well, what a start to the year it was. Obviously, his season started at the third round in Aragon after Thailand. And well, it was a really exciting debut for him. He had a great debut, finished inside the top 10, and then also just picked up from there and just got better and better as the season went on. So Michael Ruben Rinaldi, what a year it was for him. He had 7 top 10 finishes and finished the season in 14th place with 77 points, and that is not bad for saying that you missed 6 races. That's 12 races overall, 6 rounds and 12 races. So pretty impressive performance from Michael Rinaldi, and obviously he's back again in 2019 on the Barney Racing Ducati, replacing Xavi Forés. So let's see what he can do when he gets out to Phillip Island in a few weeks' time. Our next moment comes from Magic Michael and the Pata Yamaha team. Now, what a weekend it was for them at Donington Park. Michael van der Mark just dominating the weekend, absolutely killing it. 2 wins on the bounce for him at Donington Park. And, well, it was just unexpected, really. It was mixed conditions all throughout the weekend. I was there, I was stood in the cold, but then we had a great day for it on Saturday and Sunday. We had 2 great races, I think it was. And, well, it was, like I say, great race. Jonathan Rea, Tom Sykes, Alex Lowe's, Chaz Davies, they were all fighting at the front with Michael, and well, Michael van der Mark absolutely just timed it to perfection, got the tyre choices right in both races, and well, he just clicked with Donington Park and got himself 2 wins, and it was just nice to see another manufacturer apart from Kawasaki or Ducati winning a race, and it was just good to see Michael van der Mark as well, not doing it once but doing it twice at the same weekend, you know, beating the best riders in World Superbike, you know, who happen to be British, you know, Jonathan Rea, Tom Sykes, Alex Lowe's, people like that, some of the best riders there, beating them at their home round as well. That was pretty sweet for Michael van der Mark and the Pata Yamaha team, and that's why it was so special for Paul Dennin and Michael van der Mark, because also Michael became the first Dutch rider to win a World Superbike race ever, and also took Yamaha's first win since Marco Melandri at Portimao when the Italian led a 1-2 way back in 2011, and that is why it is a part of our top 10 moments of 2018. 2018 was the first time Bruno returned to the championship since 2012 when that was last on the calendar, and well, it lived up to its expectations, didn't it? Especially for Kawasaki. Jonathan Rea getting taken out in a controversial matter by Tom Sykes, his teammate. Obviously they've been teammates right since 2015 and nothing really happened between the two of them. You know, you look at Valentino Rossi and Jorge Lorenzo, you know, that relationship was really frosty, but nothing was kind of like that in the World Superbike Kawasaki squad until Bruno, of course, where Tom Sykes passed Jonathan Rea back. Jonathan Rea did a little switch on the middle of the chicane, went wide and Sykes passed him, used up all the exit curbs, and Rea was obviously there and got took down. So it was a racing incident. Obviously Rea passed him and went wide, but it was an interesting situation for Jonathan Rea and Tom Sykes and also the Kawasaki squad. Things really kicked off and it just added a bit more tension to the championship. It added a bit of entertainment and I don't know, it was just worthy enough of being inside the top 10 moments of 2018. Sticking with Bruno and going back to Yamaha now, when Alex Lowes took the advantage of the two Kawasaki's collecting each other and taking his first World Superbike win at Bruno on board the Pata Yamaha bike. And it was just really good for Alex Lowes to stand on the top step to show, you know, himself, the fans, the team, that it's not just Michael van der Mark who can win races, I can win races. And he controlled the race as well. He was under pressure from van der Mark. It was a Yamaha 1-2. He was under pressure from van der Mark and he just controlled it and brought it home for a win. You know, we know Alex Lowes, he can sometimes, you know, like a crash. As can a lot of riders, but that weekend, in fact this season in general, Alex has really matured and he's really shown his class as a rider. And yeah, it's just incredible to see. And that moment when he stood on top step at Bruno was really, really special. And that's why that's a moment of our top 10 moments of 2018. Our next moment comes from Donington Park. We're going back to Donington Park and we're going to the Turk rider, Toprak Razgatlioglu, who put on an impressive and an incredible performance for the final race of the weekend at Donington Park, where he charged through the pack to push Jonathan Rea back down to third. But it was just a great race for him. He started 10th position. He obviously got took out by Leon Haslam the day before, his teammate for that weekend. But it was just a great weekend for Toprak. Really, really good performance throughout the weekend. And that obviously Saturday, I think he was running 6th before Haslam knocked him off. But then on Sunday, starting 10th, and he just blasted through the field. He had a great race. He had that great management of the tyre, which sometimes, you know, Toprak, he does struggle with that a little bit. He is a little bit like Petrucci in MotoGP. He does like to stress the rear tyre a lot, but Toprak managed the tyre well at Donington Park, charged through right at the end, pinched the second position off Jonathan Rea, and yeah, settled down for that second position. Obviously van der Mark had just extended the lead a little bit too much, and it was just great for, again, another new name on the podium in 2018, and also to see a Turk back on top of back on a podium in World Superbikes. Obviously the last was Supersport, Kenan Sofoglu. I can't remember when the last Turkish rider in World Superbikes stood on the podium, but Toprak Razgatlioglu on the podium in World Superbikes at Donington Park. It was a great moment to see a young Turk rider coming up through the ranks and beating a factory Kawasaki in Jonathan Rea, the 4-time world champion. Our next moment, a little bit like Michael Rinaldi, is about Xavi Forés. Xavi Forés' season in general. It was a good season for him. He had a little bit of a blip in the middle, but apart from that, it was a really good season for him. He started the season strong with a 4th and a 3rd. Then he was on the podium again at Thailand and then a 5th, and then on the podium again at Aragon. Crashed out in the second race at Aragon whilst leading the race. Then he had 4 top 5s in a row. Unfortunately, at Donington Park, the 2 retirements, Czech Republic didn't quite go to plan either. Then he had 3 6th positions in a row, crashed out in the second race at Italy, didn't finish in the first race at Portugal, finished the second race in 10th, back on the podium in France, then 8th in the second race, 4th in the first race at Argentina, 2nd in the second race at Argentina, 13th in the first race at Qatar. Then obviously the second race at Qatar wasn't ran due to the adverse conditions. But that record for Xavi Forés is his best in World Superbike ever. That was really, really good. He actually matched his previous best result of the championship, 7th, but did score a hell of a lot more points. 196 points he scored in 2017 compared to 230 in 2018, and he could have actually, I think, jumped up a couple of positions in the championship, judging by the second race. If that had ran, he would have been able to move his way up the championship. But Xavi Flores, great year in World Superbike, going to BSB next year. That performance there, them podiums, them top fives, the fighting for wins and that, it doesn't deserve to be in BSB next year. It should be in World Superbikes, but sometimes that's the way thing goes, and he's sure he's going to rip it up in BSB with Honda next year. So yeah, Xavi Flores, great season, and hopefully he can do more big things in BSB. For our next moment, we're going to take a look at Aprilia and their little revival towards the end of the season, because both riders started to come quite good again in the second part of the year when, Eugene Lavity stood on the podium for the first time in America, then backed that up with another podium in Italy, and then was fighting inside the top 5 in a couple of occasions and also fighting for top 10s. But he was qualifying, obviously, pole position in Portugal. But on the other side of the box, Lorenzo Savadori, he was also fighting for, top 5s and top 6s week in, week out towards the end of the season. So obviously Aprilia, a bit of a hiccup of the season. At the start, things went wrong. Savadori started the season really well in Australia before he crashed in practice and broke his ankles, I think it was, or collarbone, and he had to miss the rest of that weekend, and it was a shame because he was going really well. He topped the opening day, and he had a really good rhythm on the bike. Eugene Lavity also had a good rhythm. Obviously, Lavity's season got really badly hampered with injury after a serious crash in Thailand. But he come back, he fought back, and he showed that Aprilia made progress throughout the year, and that was just good to see. Another manufacturer getting closer, fighting for podiums and getting closer to the win, and hopefully one day they can join Kawasaki, Ducati and Yamaha, and all of them can be fighting for the championship when it comes to the last couple of races of the season. It wouldn't be a top 10 moments video without looking at Ana Carrasco's season. The first female solo world champion, and well, it was a great year. She won it by 1 point in the end at Magny-Cours. Very intense race of her all the way down in, I think, 15th position, barely getting any points. And Mika Perez, the championship rival, was at the front leading the race. But luckily, a move on the final lap put Perez down in the order a little bit, which allowed Ana Carrasco to win the championship by 1 point. And it was just great to see a female winning a championship, fighting at the front, mixing it in with the lads. Who says that women can't race, lads? They obviously can, and she absolutely bossed it. And next year she's back in World Supersport 300 to try again, to try and defend the championship. So we wish Anna all the best for 2019. Our final moment of the season comes from World Supersport, with Sandro Cortese wrapping up the championship in Qatar in what was very tricky circumstances. I think all three riders, Cluzel, Mahias and Cortese, could have won the championship, and Cortese did. And it was one of them races where it was very stressful, because one mistake could ruin everything for you. The track had a big river running across the side of it, a few vital corners, so you tip into a corner and you have to sit it up over the wet patch, and they were all locked in a fierce battle like you always are basically in World Supersport. Every race in World Supersport is a fierce battle, but Qatar was just a little bit more special, because there was a championship on the line and they're going at it. Cluzel and Cortese coming together a few times throughout that race, running wide. Cluzel lost the front, unfortunately, then crashed out, and then got back on and crashed out again and injured himself. So it was a shame for him. It was a bit of a poor outcome for the Frenchman, but it was great to see Cluzel bringing the fight to Cortese, and even though he lost out in the end, Cortese was a deserving champion. He had a great rookie season in World Supersport, and now we're going off to World Superbikes to see what he can do in the big class. So yeah, that's it for today. That is our top 10 moments of 2018. Apologies even for the delayness of this video, and why this video was up a little bit later than all the other top 10 moments. Just a little bit busy with other things. But yeah, that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed the video, hit the like button and subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.